Hi, this is Kevin. Welcome to part 2 of the tutorial for the controller assignment. In part 2, we're going to add a detail page for each of our model classes. So let's just talk about how they're going to fit in. So I'm going to crank up the development server again. Okay, we're going to look at where we are. Okay, there's our link. Almost have it. There it is. Okay, so here we are. If we go to one of our list pages like instructor list, you can see that on a list page, we have a list of, whatever that data type is, which table of the database. So we're on the instructor list. We're listing all of the rows in the instructor table. So they're all instructors. Okay. And right now, all we're doing is we're listing out the names. They look like they're links, but they haven't, the href attributes haven't been populated yet. So when you click on them, they're dead. But where are we going to go when we click on the link? Well, when we hook up that link, we're going to go to the detail page. So if you want to know about instructor Dan Hall or Kevin Trainer or Bill Qualls, well, you click on their link and you go to the detail page. And the same thing is going to be for when we have a list of the sections or the courses or the semesters or the students or the registrations. We're going to be creating a list of the links, and when you click on the link, you go to the detail page. Okay? So that's what we're doing. There are 6 of these model classes, 6 of these tables. Okay, we're going to do 3 of them together, and then I'm going to have you do the other 3 on your own. Okay, so we're going to do instructors, sections, semesters together, and on your own you're going to do courses, students, registrations. Okay, and I've got some starter files for you, so you're not going to have to type in all of the HTML. Okay, I'm going to give you the template page for the 3 that we do together, and I'm going to expect you to clone them into the template pages for the ones that you do on your own. All right? So let's get started. So the first one that we're going to do is the instructor detail page. Okay, what do we need for that first? Well, the first thing we need is the template page. So a good methodology for adding additional functionality to a Django application is, the Django flow is urls.py, views.py, and then the template. Okay. Typically, we implement them in the opposite order. So we add the template. Okay. We get that just the way we'd like. We add the view, we get that just as we'd like, and then we add the path entry in urls.py. So here in this directory, you can see a list of the 3 template pages that I'm going to give you, and I can already see that I brought the wrong one here. So I didn't want instructor list, I wanted instructor detail. So I'm going to trash that, and I'm going to find instructor detail. and copy that and put that in here. Okay. Okay. Now I've got that right. So I'm just going to drag instructor detail onto from my starter files onto the course info app. No, I'm sorry. I wanted to go down in. Let me take this back. I'm just going to pull it off the screen and drop it somewhere. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so let me do it the right way. I'm going to open in the directories under course info. I'm going to open templates, course info, and this is where I'm going to want to drag that. So I'm going to want to drag that to right here, and it's going to ask me do I want to copy it? Yes, I do. And now I have instructor detail. Okay, good. So let's look at instructor detail. I've got a title block. So, well, at the very top, I extend the base page. Then I've got a title block where I say instructor, and then I have a template tag for the name of the instructor. I end that block. I begin the content block. I have an H2 in which I'm rendering the name of the instructor. Okay. Under the H2, I have a section in which I'm going to display the fields that are, from the columns of the table. So first name, and then I say that I want to render instructor.first name. Last name, I want to render instructor.last name. Now, you'll remember that we have an optional field, okay? The style of these applications is that you don't show optional things that haven't been optioned for. So we have an if to test if this instructor object has a disambiguator field. If it does, we put out a row with a TH and a TD. The TH has the title disambiguator, and the TD has the value. We're pulling with a template tag, we're pulling out the value of the disambiguator field from instructor. Okay, and then we've got an end if. Are we done? No, we're not done. It's the style of these kind of applications that we want to show how this person is connected up with other things. So instructors teach sections. So we have a sections section. Okay, so we have an H3 that says sections, and then we have an unordered list, and then we either have a series of list items that have the sections. So how do I do that? Well, I iterate over for section in section list, and then I render with the template tag. I pull out a string for section, right? We don't have the hrefs yet. I think we're doing that next week. If it's empty, then we're going to have a list item with an emphasized, there are currently no sections for this instructor. And then we have the end of that section, and we have the end of the content block. So this is a pretty standard design, all right? So on the detail page, you show the particulars for that row, and then you show the rest of the information about what that row is connected to. in this case, because it's row instructors or instructor, then instructors have a relationship to a section, and that's why we're showing the sections. All right, so we've got that. You don't have to type it in, but it's kind of nice to have it there. So we have the template. Let's go add the view. Okay. We typically add the views in the following kind of order. Okay. We typically put instructor detail after instructor list, right? So I'm just going to go here after instructor list. I'm going to give it 3 lines. Okay. That means I'm going to have 2 blank lines before it, 2 blank lines after it. Okay, and I'm just going to go to my already baked view, and I'll copy the code and I'll explain it to you. Okay, so instructor detail. So this is another class-based view. Let me put it in here for you. Okay, and we're going to need one import. We have a function here called getObject or 404, so I'll be explaining that. So hover over it, click on the leftmost of the blue links, you'll get the import. Okay, the import's up here. Yeah, getObject or 404. Okay, instructor detail. Okay, we're implementing the get, right? Why do we implement the get? Well, because this is the kind of thing that we get by clicking on a link. And when we click on a link on a web page, the browser sends a request to the server. What method type is it? Well, it's type get. Okay. Now, in the short run, while we're testing it, we don't have all of our links populated. The other way that you can you can trigger a get is to type in the URL string in the address bar. Okay, but this is definitely a get. So what do we pass in? Well, the self object, which is the Python way when you call a method, the first of the parameters is always a reference to the object itself. We get a copy of the request, and we're getting a third parameter here, a PK. So this is the primary key of the row that we're looking for, of the instructor that we're looking for. Okay, those are the 3 parameters that we're getting in. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to go find the instructor. Okay, we expect to find the instructor. Why is that? Well, because we've clicked on a link. So our application is only going to put out links for instructors that we have. So we should have no bad links. Okay, so because we're not expecting a lot of errors, we're taking an approach to getting the instructor object. There's this really cool function called getObject or 404 in which it's going to go retrieve the instructor object from the database. Okay, and in the case that it can't be found, which we are not expecting, this is some old link from some old session or something like that, we should never get is 404, but a 404 is a not found. Okay, if it's not found, what Django is going to do is it's going to forward to a page that says 404 not found. Okay, that's an error page. Okay, but in 99.99999% of the time, we expect to get the object back. Okay, And so here, here again, what do we have to pass to the function get object for? We have to tell it which model class we're looking for, and we have to give it a primary key. Now, this is another instance of a keyword parameter. Okay, there's a keyword parameter PK that stands for primary key, and we are populating it with the value that we were passed in for the primary key. Okay, why is it all smushed up against each other? It's smushed up against each other because that's the syntax for keyword parameters. Okay, there are no intervening spaces when you code a keyword parameter on a function call. Okay. All right. So we're going to get the instructor object back and put it in instructor. We're going to get a list of the sections by clicking asking for the sections field of the instructor model class and saying that we want all the objects. So let's just go look at the model class and see, is there a sections field on that? So let's go to models and let's go to instructor. Where is sections? Well, I see instructor ID, first name, last name, disambiguator. There is no sections field that is physically on the instructor class. Okay, where does it come from? Well, over on the model class for section, you'll remember, let's go to section. We have section down here, yeah. You'll remember that when we were pointing to the instructors, we had a related name here. Related name sections. So what does that do? Well, it says, I want you to put on the instructor class, I want you to put like a virtual field that's going to be a list that's going to point to all the sections over here. Okay, so the instructor model class really has a field available called sections. Even though it's not coded there, it's coded on the section model class. So that's how we got that. Okay? Just wanted to explain that one. Okay, so that's how we get a list of all of the sections. And now that we have all of our data, well, we just have to render the page. And so, as usual, we pass through the request. We pass a reference to the template page. And then in the context, we store the data that we're going to need to pull out on the template page. The keywords are instructor and section list. Okay, so pretty straightforward, but a couple of new constructs. All right, are we ready yet? No, we have to put the new code into urls.py. Let's go there. Okay, and I can see that I don't have all my section paths in here. So I'm going to pause and get that code copied across. Okay? I shall return. Well, I'm back. My code versions got a little bit uncoordinated there. I apologize for that. So we just finished with the view. Let me just go back and take a peek at that. Okay, so we just put in the instructor detail view, and now we have to go create a path for instructor detail. And typically we put that in the same order that we put the view in, right? So I'm going to copy my code from my already baked version and put it in here. Okay, and let's see, instructor detail, we're going to need an import for it. Now let's give that its own line, okay? All right, so how does this work? Well, the way that we point to the view is the same as we've been doing for since part one here. Instructor detail as view. The name that we give to the URL pattern, pretty predictable. Course info instructor detail URL pattern. But up here in the path string, we have instructor and a slash, and then we're going to expect an integer that's going to be our primary key, the PK, right? And why do we call it PK? Well, it turns out that the Django infrastructure really likes us to call that piece of data PK, okay? And long ago, I tried to use a more descriptive name like instructor ID, and unfortunately, there's a lot of the Django magic that depends upon you using the name that they're expecting. And for this primary key that we're going to get in, if we call it PK, this is going to work for the situation that we're in now. But this whole PK naming scheme is going to help us a lot for things we're going to do a couple of weeks down the road. So again, it's going to be instructor slash the PK value, which is going to be of type int, and there's always a closing slash. Okay, now I have students who forget to put that slash on there. That's considered an error. Okay. We're expecting to use the slash, put the terminating slash on there. Okay. All right. That's all we need. Let's go do some testing. We can find our link. Okay. So sometimes it gets a little sleepy. Okay, so we want to go find instructor 1. Instructor 1 slash. And there it is. It's me, Kevin Trainer. And you can see that, of course, I've got the navigation links. I've got my name as an H2. I've got the two column values, Kevin and Trainer. I don't have a disambiguator showing up there because we didn't use that field for me. Okay, so if it's not populated, it doesn't show up. And then we've got the sections that I'm teaching for, and you can see them there. The links here will go to the detail page for the section, but right now we haven't populated the href attributes, so they're not going to go there. Okay, well that worked great. All right, so that's the first one that we're going to do. We're going to do it together. Okay, let's do section next. Okay. All right, so what are we going to start with? Well, we're going to start with the, I've got to find my starter files. Okay. And I'm seeing that when I pull these into my project, I consume them, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to take this section detail for the template. I'm going to right click and say copy instead of dragging it in. Okay, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to find the templates, click on the course info directory that they go into, right click and paste, and then I'm just going to say okay. Okay, and so now I've got the template page for the section. Okay, and we've got the typical title block. Then in the content block, we have the H2 with the name of the section. And now we have a section that has the particulars for this row of the database. We're going to give the column values, right? And I've decided to put these into a table. Okay, it certainly would have been possible to put them into an unordered list, but it turns out that while we're developing, it works best to put them into a table. So please do put them into a table. So each of the values is going to be in its own row, where the table header has the label and the TD has the link. Okay, and right now the href attribute is going to be empty, but here are the values: course, and then we pull off the value. We pull off the name for course, section name, then we pull off the value for section name. Semester, we pull off the value for semester, and instruction, instructor, we pull off the value for instructor. Okay, is that everything that we have? No, sections have registrations. So we have another section here, okay, where we have an H3 that shows here are the registrations. Okay, and then we have an unordered list that either has a bunch of LIs with the links to the registrations, or it has a message to say that it's empty. Now, the name of a registration, if you remember back, includes both the name of the section and the name of the student, with a slash in between them. Okay, well, since we're already on, it's the name of the section and the name of the student. Since we're already on the section, we know the name of the section. So having a proper registration name here is not a pretty way to render it. So even though we're going to link to the registration, we're going to render the name of the student. So we just say registration.student. Okay, so we're trying to pull off the name of the student that's being pointed to by the registration. And that works. That's actually that easy. Okay? All right, this is one of our more complicated pages. Okay, so are we done yet? Nope, we only did the template. Now we have to go do the view. So we'll go to the view. We have instructor detail, section list. Now we're going to leave some space for section detail. Okay, so let me go find the code for that. Section detail is right here in my already baked version. So let me copy that over. and I'll explain the code, okay? Okay, so this has quite a bit of data, right? So again, this is section detail is a subclass of view. We are implementing the method get because we're only expecting to get gets for the section detail. We're only expecting that because people are going to click on a link. That's what's going to generate the request. Requests that come from clicking on a link or typing the URL string into the browser generate a get. Okay, so here we are. So we want to get the section object. Again, I can't emphasize enough, we're not expecting errors because where did we get this link? Well, off of another page where we rendered that link. So we just created the link and then somebody clicked on it. It should be for a section that we really do have. In the unlikely event that it's not found, it's going to generate a 404 not found page, and we're going to tell it that we want a section object. So we pass a reference to the model class, and then we pass the PK. Where did we get the PK? Well, it came to us as a parameter. Okay? So then we have the section, okay? But then now we have to populate some other fields. Okay? We're going to retrieve a reference to the semester. We're going to retrieve a reference to the course. We're going to retrieve a reference to the instructor. We're going to retrieve a list of the registrations. Now, I just want to point out again that it might be possible to do this fetching in the template code. We do not do it there, okay? That's the nature of following an architectural pattern like MVC, model view controller, okay? The controller, which is what, the view is the major component of the controller. The view does all the heavy lifting. So if we have to retrieve data, the view does it. The template's a relatively lazy animal. It does formatting and rendering, okay? It doesn't fetch data. That's not in its job description. Now, all that we have to do is a call to render, okay? We pass a reference to the request. We pass a reference to the template. Then we pass a dictionary, which is a context object, and now we have a lot of data. That's why this one is kind of complex. Okay, we have reference to the section, to the semester, to the course, to the instructor, and we have a registration list. Okay, if you go back to the template, we use all these. Okay, but you can't use them if you don't pass them in the context object. All right. So we were in the view. All right, so that's that one. That's about as busy as a detail page is going to get. Okay, and now we just need the entry in urls.py. Okay, so right after section, we want to make room for the path for section detail. Section detail goes right there. Okay, and when we copy over one of these, we always have an import, so we have to do the import. Okay. And let's say in the URL string, it's got section slash, and it has that int pk that says we're expecting a type int that is the pk, the primary key. We have a reference to the view class. And then we have the name, which we're not going to use for another week or so, but we have that. Okay, so now we've got all three parts ready to test. So let's go and do section 1. There's section 1. It's fundamentals of information processing, and I'm teaching it in the spring of 2021. Okay, and let's look at section 2. Okay, web development using application frameworks. Oh, that's our class. Okay, and you will notice we've got 2 registrations. Okay, and we're not getting the name of the registration. The name of the registration would be a combination of the section name and the student name. No, we've reached across and gotten just the student name. Even though this link is going to point to a registration detail page, the name of the registration, the full name, is not user-friendly. So we went a little farther and got a user-friendly name there. Okay, so that's 2. Let's do number 3. Okay, this is my systems analysis course with just Peter Liu, currently registered. And let's do number 4. That's the database course with Amanda Gorman. I think it'd be great to have Amanda Gorman in class. She's so famous, and she was so truly captivating at the inauguration that I'd like to meet her. Yeah, so that's that. So those are all the real sections that I have. Now, I'm not finished testing until I force a 404 page. So I put in for section 99. I know it's not going to be found, and I got the 404 page. Okay. Again, I can't emphasize enough, we're not expecting to get any of these, because how are we going to be getting to the section detail page? We're going to be getting there by clicking on a link which we created on another page. Okay, so we should never have a not found. Okay, we have the checks to make sure that we don't do anything silly if we have a not found, but we shouldn't ever expect to get one. Okay, now we're going to do the last of the ones that we're going to do together. Okay, and what's that? Well, that's going to be semester. All right, where do we start? We start with the template. So I'm going to go, this is what's left of my starter file directory. And I'm going to take SemesterDetail. I'm going to copy it. All right. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to paste it in with the rest of the templates. And say OK to that. And let's look at this one. This one is pretty straightforward, but I just want to go through it with you. So we've got a title block with just semester. We've got and H2, which is going to show the name of the semester. Now, we don't have a section that shows the fields from semester. Okay, why is that? Well, because we're not, the part of the system that we're building doesn't include the two tables that we point to from semester. If we go over to the models class, okay, if we look at semester, let's find semester. It's right here. Okay, so it has two fields. They're foreign keys that point into the year table and the period table. But for the users of our system, okay, they don't even know that the year and the period table exist. Okay, who's going to know about that? The system administrator is going to know. They're going to maintain the tables using the admin app, right? So we're not going to really show the users of our pages what's under the covers on semester. So we generate the name in our string method. We take the name, we take the year and the period name that are pointed to, and we separate them by a hyphen, right? And so all we're going to show on the semester page is just the name of the semester. We're not going to reveal these two foreign keys. Okay, because they're not a part of the system that we're exposing to our user group. Okay? So, if we go back to SemesterDetail, you'll see that there isn't a section under the H2 that shows the contents of the fields on semester. We've hidden that. Okay, this is the only table that we're doing that for, and that's why I decided to do this one with you. Okay, but we do want to show the sections for where that are available in that semester. So we have a section here in which we have the H3 that says sections, and then we're going to iterate over for section and section list, okay, and then we're going to have list items that have the name of the section, and right now they're going to be dead, but in a week or two we're going to populate it and they're going to go live. And if it's empty, we're going to say there are currently no sections for this semester. Okay, so this one is kind of complicated in that we're not going to show the fields, and I had to explain why. Okay, because we're hiding them from the users. Good. So we have that. So we have the template. Now we have to go to the views. So let's go to the views. We have semester list. Let's add. I usually put 3 blank lines there, so I'm easily able to separate the classes by 2 blank lines on the top and the bottom, which meets the style rules. And we're going to click on views.py, and I'm going to find semester. It's going to be down here somewhere. SemesterDetail in my already baked version. So I'm going to copy that over and put it right here. Okay, and it's pretty much like the ones that we've already seen. Again, SemesterDetail is the name of the view. Its subclass is view. It implements the method get, That's all we need because we get here by clicking on links. Okay, and that generates a get. We've got the get object of 404. We want a semester object with the proper primary key. Okay. For this semester, we want to retrieve a list of the sections. Okay, and then we just have to call render. We pass the request. We pass reference to the template, and we're passing two things in the context object. Again, the context object is a dictionary. We're passing one entry has a label of semester. The other entry has the label of section list. Okay, and these are the things that we're pulling out of there in the template. Okay, we're nearly ready. We need to go to URLs at .py, so let's do that. Okay, and again, we're down in semester. Okay, and we want to do SemesterDetail. So we've got that, and I'm going to copy the code from my already baked version, and we're going to put it in here. Where are we? We're right here. Yeah. Okay. SemesterDetail needs an import. I'm going to do that. Okay, and I'm going to go up and make sure all these imports are in a column. Okay, that's good. And then SemesterDetail, again, the URL string is going to include semester / an integer for the primary key, a slash. Okay. All right, let's just go test this one. And that's a little slow. Let's refresh it. Yep, came. So let's do semester 1. And there it is. It's called 2020 Spring. Okay. There are no sections for this in my test data. Notice that under the title 2020 Spring, we don't have the fields. Remember that we left those out. Okay. No, we don't have any sections on section 1. We don't have any on section 2 either. Okay. I don't think we have any on 3. No, that's the fall. But all of my test data is in the spring of 2021, so that's semester 4. There are our 4 sections from there. Okay, and then semester 5 is the summer. Nothing there. Semester 6 is going to be the fall. Okay, and then those are the only ones I've currently populated. So if I go to 99, I'm going to get a 404. All right. So we have done, let's go back to semester 4, right? So we have done instructors, sections, semesters. Okay. You're to do courses, students, registrations, and take the same kind of cloning approach that we've used in previous assignments. Okay. They should be pretty straightforward. I think we've done the hard or the unusual ones. Okay? And I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to say bye until next time. Bye-bye.